I thought that was great. I thought it was a great setting, great for the city of Toronto, great for the organization. We're excited to have Drake as part of the family, part of the MLSE family, and I thought it was a great jolt in the arm for our organization.
But ultimately, the product on the floor is going to matter. And that's
no question. That's the bottom line, and that's where we understand that's totally separate. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we want to be where Masai was talking about by 2016, having a winning championship aspirations type team by that time, and that's up to us to get it going in that direction.
I think you can make a real impact.
Who, me?
No, Drake.
Well, yeah, of course. Anytime you have well, I hope so. I hope they listen. But, no, I really do. I know he will. I know how much our players respect him. I know how much players around the league respect him and his music. And anytime you're great at something, and as great as he is at his music, our players love music. They respect him. And not only our players, the rest of the NBA. So that's the important thing. You bring that to your brand. You bring that to your home. And plus, he's homegrown. And I've said this for a long time. Basketball in Canada is getting big, and I think the generation of kids that when they first started the team in '96, I guess it was, are now coming of age. They followed NBA basketball, Raptor basketball, and no disrespect to hockey. I know it's never going to supplant hockey, but it's the love of the game is coming to fruition now. You just look at all the young talent in Toronto, around Canada. And Drake is one of those byproducts of that. He grew up with the Raptors, and we're very fortunate to have him with us and our family.
When the work begins tomorrow, what's the message?
Defense. It's going to, we're going to start out with defense, and this way, it should be with any team that wants to get better. Again, last year, and I don't think it was a mistake, but we had to get better offensively. But we tilted the pendulum a little bit too far to the offensive side. This year it's going to be back to the defensive side because we've got to get back. I was looking at the numbers. We went from, I think it was 7th in defensive field goal percentage to 19th or 20th. And that's too big of a jump. And it just tells me that, we were too focused on one area, and rightfully so. We were 30th in offense. So, you're trying to put a finger in one and the water comes out in the other. So now we're going to get back to the defensive side of the ball, because I do know we have some very, very good scorers coming in the stable with Steve Novak added. Tyler Hansborough is going to add some scoring for us, DJ Augustine, and the experience of Kyle and Rudy and DeMar coming back together.
Coach, was there a specific cause for that drop-off that you mentioned last year defensively, anything that you noticed specifically?
Well, when you emphasize something, the way we did offense going into training camp last year, it took a personality of its own, and guys are going to rest somewhere. And when you emphasize pushing the basketball in transition, playing up-tempo, so to speak, and we did that, and we did a decent job in exhibition, but somewhere down the line, you're going to rest. And I thought our guys took a step back with the focus and the spotlight not being on the defensive end.
You had 3 rookies last year. You have 1 this year. Does that make your job easier going into
no
this
question. And I'm not putting it on any one person. That has something to do with it. Jonas took his whooping, as my grandmother would say, took his whooping last year early. We were 3-19, and they saw something good to eat with a rookie at center. That's had something to do with our points in the paint, our rim protection, and he had to learn. We knew that going in it was going to be ugly, but as the year went on, you could see a young man growing, and it continued through this summer, and he's not a finished product yet, but he's getting there, and I really like what we have, and his growth is. But again, last year I thought the expectation for him and for the team, so I would say, was way too high, and I thought national media had us ranked. I forgot where they had us ranked in the bottom, and we took that as an insult, but we didn't help them out by the tough start we had.
So what should fans expect from the team this year, Coach?
Well, a team that's going to be a hard-working team. I'm not going to sit here and talk about playoffs. I'm going to talk about growth. We're still a very young team. I like the direction the team was going after the Rudy trade. I think it was something like 500 or something like that. I like that growth. I thought we were making strides defensively. I thought we were making strides. We found a pace that was very comfortable for us. We didn't. I got all that crazy stuff out of my mind. Not crazy. We had to increase offense, but I got the up-tempo mentality away. We found a tempo that was comfortable for us. And where Rudy and DeMar was with their ball handling and their expertise, they found a comfort level, and I thought we got going after that.
But if you're talking about growth as a team, does that sort of mean that this team can get in the playoffs?
Steve, I'm not even going to talk about playoffs. It's not even my mentality right now is to get better, and all those other things are going to take care of themselves. I'm not even going to mention it to the players tonight in our meeting when we talk about get better. And when you do that, good things are going to happen.
Hey, this is a rather significant year for Kyle. Talk about your relationship with him and his growth and what you need and expect from him.
I'm very proud of Kyle. First of all, what he did to his body this summer was huge. That shows the seriousness he has about this season. What he's got to do is continue that through the year. He's taken his leadership position as very seriously. And like I told him, more important than his play and his numbers is his positive leadership. And believe me, I don't want to lose the Cal personality. I want the tough, ornery point guard that he is, which makes him the player he is. But that positive leadership in the right way, running the team the right way, and he's done that. He did that, I thought, the second half of the year last year. And I'm really excited about where he is mentally and also physically.
When Masai took over, there was a lot of speculation about what he might do to this team, what he might do to the coaching staff, and more or less, outside of the Andrea trade, it's a very similar team to how it ended last year. What do you like about that?
Well, the one thing we're going to find out, that helps, but no. The good thing about it, Eric, is the fact that I think that we're going to find out what we have. And to answer Steve's question, which is a very fair question about the playoffs, we're going to find out pretty quickly if we have enough or if we don't have, to be a playoff team. If we make the continuous growth, we should be going in that direction. But we're not going to talk about it because talk is cheap. It's about doing it. I thought we talked about it a little bit last year, and we started out with 4-19. So I don't want to talk about where we should be, what we could be doing, or anything. I want to talk about how good, how hard the guy's going to work to get there or to get better.
Does the relative stability sort of eliminate excuses for you, for the players who are coming back?
No question. And that's huge. None of us have an excuse. There's no out. What is your cop-out? No, it's right here. It's the same team, same group. And, again, that's why I'm saying right now we're past the talking stage. Let's get out, get in the gym together as a team, work to get better. Nobody is, saying, hey, this is us. There's not, as Coach Pitino said, Larry Bird's not going to be coming through the door. So this is our team, our group, so let's go to work.
I know you don't want to put benchmarks on a win total or anything like that, but on the defensive side, are there certain benchmarks or metrics that you target, maybe internally?
That's a very fair question. One is defensive field goal percentage. The next one is points in the paint, transition defense. We were second. That's an area where we're pretty solid in transition defense, getting back. One, we got to get better in his rebounding. I thought by going small last year hurt us somewhat. We had to do that, so to speak, to score. We had to get a small lineup in. But with one big guy in and some of the bruising big guys we have in the East, it hurt us on the defensive rebounding. I think we were like 17th or something like that in defensive rebounding, or maybe even lower than that. But we got to get better with our defensive rebounding.
Coach, have you from like Raptors days, talking about, we talked to you about looking past this season, looking at certain draft picks and that kind of thing. And if so, what do you say to them?
Steve, that's hard because I see that. I understand fans, getting excited about some of the things that could be in the future, but I can't, as a coach, it would be so hypocritical of me to get in front of the team to say, hey, look, we got to look at that. No, I'm talking about winning, and I'm talking about getting better, each and individual player. The winning will take care of itself if guys commit themselves to working to get better. But it's hard. I don't even put my mind to that place to think about, with the draft or whatever and that type of thing. And I think that's the hardest thing to do in sport, is to think about the future when you're charged with winning and developing right now.
Does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me because I don't, no disrespect, I don't read it as far as talking about tanking and all that stuff, but all I'm doing is trying to focus on our guys getting better and what our team is doing.
But the mere suggestion of tanking, it goes against everything that
It should. It does, because it's just the way coaches are wired. It's tough. And believe me, I understand it, that sometimes an organization has to take a couple of steps back to go forward. I've seen it. I look at San Antonio a few years back when they got Tim Duncan. They took a big step back that season, and it paid off. But I guarantee you the coaches weren't preaching it. It's something probably just happened just by, attrition. So. But I don't think that way. I'm worried about getting better defensively and not draft picks.
Dwane, will we expect to see Jonas getting a little more respect from referees this year?
Well, I like my money, Jeff. But okay.
After a year in the NBA,
yes, I know what you're saying.
Will he be given a little more leeway?
Right. I know we're going to go to him a lot more than we did last year offensively. He's going to be kind of one of our anchors in the low post. Because he has developed to that spot, I hope. And that's something you earn, too, that you earn. And I tell all our guys that we've got to get to the point where we earn the respect of the officials. And you don't do it by talking. You do it by your hard play, by kicking somebody's ass and playing hard that way, other than, after you don't get a call, showing up the official. And we talked about that last week in the coaches meeting. But our guys have to earn it, and especially Jonas, being a young player, he has a ways to go as far. I think he's earned the respect of the other teams in the league, but now we got to get the respect of the league itself.
What will you be working with him on, especially? Is there one aspect of his game that you'll focus on?
Huge, his balance. And we broke a tape down the other day. His balance of being bent over at the waist and not on his toes, bouncing on his toes. A lot of his weight is on his heels, bent forward. We've got to get his upper body where it's balanced and be ready like he's sitting in a chair ready to move instead of bending over. And that causes a lot of fouls because your whole notion is when you do react, you reach out and touch, and it's a touch foul. We were 30th in the league in fouls last year by a big margin. Some of that was self-induced because I was trying to build a hard-ass, tough defensive mindset, and we got caught with fouls. I thought, and Golden State was 29th, and I was talking to Mark, that's what they were trying to do too. But now we got to get some intelligence in it and cut back. We got to get around 20. Now again, if somebody drives down the lane, we want to put them on their butt and not have any free layups, not hurt anybody, but make sure we police the paint. But again, the reaching, touching fouls, the fouling the jump shooter, some of the cheap offensive fouls we got to cut way back on them. I want to cut out 1 or 2 a game on those type of fouls. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, buddy. Okay, good seeing you. Okay, Steve, good seeing you, buddy.
Is Jonas' hopefully improved offensive presence, will that be the biggest structural change to sort of where your shots come from?
No, we're gonna work on some other things. We're gonna emphasize shooting the three, but we're gonna try to dictate what type of three. We were number 6 in the NBA in the non-corner threes, and our percentages weren't high, but we were very high percentage from the corner three. So now you have to do the math and figure out where we're going to start figuring out our threes from. But we're going to try to shoot the most efficient three that we can.
Do you feel good about Rudy and DeMar's three-point shooting?
Again, it's early. I want to wait and see the first week of the season. They've been working on it. DeMar has really worked on it. Rudy's worked on it also. Worked on his mechanics. A lot has been made about his eyes, but I think it's just as much mechanics as it's about his eyes. So those things are going to, but again, to answer your question, we want to play in the post, make sure that they respect the post. But again, where does our three-point shots come from? Where does our next phase of shots come from? We want to get in the paint, but we want to cut back on some of the non-paint twos.